You so much for your candor so far, and I'm gonna dig a little more into your business. But I do appreciate you taking time out because, again, I really, well, we really believe that this will help someone. Um, the enemy, as we get closer to Jesus' second coming, the enemy wants nothing more than to have us do his bidding and go to Christless graves. And so, but for the grace of God, you would have been one of them, a part of Satan's army. Whether it was the employment or the unholy alliance, because you could have wound up getting caught up with that stuff with your ex-husband. I mean, God, it's clear that God has a role for you to play.
And there was many tentacles in that, and I'm glad you said that too, because it's like, either the husband thing with the spiritualism and supernatural, or just caught up in the lavishness of what look at what Atlanta is now. It's like black little Hollywood.
Yes.
I mean, I'm thinking about some of these people like your Tyler Perry's. I remember we were at a play. And as Tyler was walking to his seat, he stopped and we were talking.
Yeah. And
he was going back there. Ludacris. Back then, he was Chris Love. All these people I've worked with.
Yeah.
I mean, so you think about it, and I think about it now because it's like Satan was setting things up. And if the Lord hadn't have pulled me out, because again, remember, I didn't feel there was this emptiness, At least I wasn't spiritual enough to know what it was, because I had what I thought was everything,
right,
and didn't realize I had nothing,
right. And see, and this is the thing, the enemy has a way of blinding us, and we don't even see it, we don't even know it. I mean, it's I can't be judgmental because if I was making $250,000 and a 7,000, I mean, there's no telling where my mindset would be. But my point is, we've got to be careful even once we wake up to the truth.
Especially when we wake up to the truth.
Not to get caught unawares. So, all right. So let's press a little further. Let's go a little further. All right. So all Hades broke out. The husband asked for the divorce. The income, you had a car accident, and you had said that you asked God, why didn't you stop why didn't the house sell? And he needed you to depend on him. What happened in terms of the car accident? What kind of impact did that have on your journey?
I don't know. I was after that. I mean, by that time, it was just one of a whole bunch of stuff because, you go to a place. Literally, 3ABN was like a safe haven. And when the Lord brought that opportunity to me, I never even heard of a three, because remember I was in the world, never heard of a 3ABN, didn't know a Danny Shelton, didn't know any of that, but someone. Because they were going to come to Atlanta for one of their fundraisers, and someone told me about it. I was like, oh, okay, I'll go, and right. I was still working at KISS and so forth, and someone had told Danny about me. So I went there, and Danny shared his testimony when he was going through his divorce, and I walked up to him and I said, I'm praying for you. I said, I'm going through the same thing. And that's how it started. He had someone to contact me, and of course I had resigned, and so they flew me down and interviewed me, and that's when I came back. I said, this is my husband. I said, well, they want to hire me. What do you want us to do? So the decision was his. He didn't say anything about it for 3 days.
Wow.
And then after the third day was when he said he wanted a divorce. So systematically, the Lord was like, so when I went there, let me tell you, if it wasn't for Angie and Pastor John Lone McCain, there were times where, when I tell you prostrate on the floor, I remember one time I fell asleep. I was sitting on the floor, my arm was like this. I'd been crying and crying and crying, and I went to sleep, and I promise you, it was like it was like the Lord had me leaning on him, because it was I mean it was when I woke, it was like he cradled me.
Right.
Literally.
Yes. And he'll do it.
And I'm
he'll
like,
do it.
I've never had that experience
Yes.
since.
Yes.
But let me tell you, in your deepest, darkest, most painful times and hours, that's when God is the closest.
Yes.
You know, because
Amen.
now when we're like Christians and so forth, you really don't have that experience until you start having some
Trials.
some for real trials.
Yes. Yes.
So
And you know, I'm glad you pointed that out, Melissa, because when it comes to our trials, one of the things I've learned, it took me forever to get this, is there is a blessing in trials. There's a blessing in hardship and heartache, because it makes us rely on God more. We seek Him fully. If we have half a brain, we cling to Him more. At least I know I have. And it also is a reference where we can look back and see how God has delivered us and kept us, and it better equips us for the next trial.
And that's perfect with what she said, because you know, not only did the house foreclose, the husband divorced in a matter of weeks apart, and then the car totaled. One of the times I was driving before it totaled, and literally, I wasn't suicidal, none of that. It came out of nowhere. I'm driving, and the enemy said, why don't you just keep driving and hit that? You won't feel a thing.
Mercy.
I promise you. I had no kind of suicidal thoughts. He just popped it in. So if that's ever happened to you, I mean, I'm telling you, it's for real. So since then, my granny passed.
Oh no.
Yeah, that was devastating. The equipment, my video equipment. I was living in Chattanooga in near Southern. Someone busted through my front door, took 2 of my 3 cameras, my computer, and then a little later on, the house I was living in was destroyed by a tornado.
Wow.
Destroyed by a tornado. What did I find? My Bible. I found
Yes.
them. But
Yes.
everything
And
was
I'm going to
destroyed.
share that picture. She sent me a picture of that. It was the devastation, and the thing that remained was her Bible. And you have such a calm, like a serene look on your face. Yeah. And you know, you had your Bible, everything was destroyed, and that's the thing that stuck out at me, was
And
that look on your face.
I never even noticed. But at that moment, I was living in a hotel that, you know, the insurance, you know, provided, and everything that I owned fit in one corner of that little hotel. Because the Lord blessed. I was working with ASI, and they had sent me down to Florida for a site selection and inspection for one of the ASI meetings. So that particular night, I was actually in Florida, had called my landlord because it was a 3-level house, and I was renting a 2-bedroom basement daylight apartment, which was so cute. Totally destroyed. And I'm calling them, checking, you know, how you guys doing? Everything okay? You know, calling all my other friends, hey, I'm watching the news. Are you all right? Then later on that night, I get a call from my landlord. She was like, she had, you know, tears in her voice. It's gone. I'm like, what's gone? It's gone. It's gone. What? Our house. The house. The 3, and I'll try to find the before picture to show you what that house looked like, which was down, and you saw the splinters. It was a huge 3-level house.
Wow.
And destroyed. 2 weeks later, I'm on the phone with her. I hear her say, Snickers. That was the cat. The dog, she had an old dog. He went under the house. Now, mind you, there was no house to have. God spared that dog.
Wow.
God spared that dog, that cat. He cares about the little things,
yes,
guys.
Yes. You know I'm a cat woman, but
Oh.
yes. Oh, wow. Yeah. Praise God.
Little Snickers came back. God saved her. Because Snickers was gone. You know, of course, we would only go there to see if we could, you know, so there's no, you just kind of go under wood and so forth. So one of the times she was there, she heard a meow.
And there's, wow.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's another thing that's so powerful about your testimony, Melissa, is in the midst of everything, he spared your life. He spared your mind because,
That's deep.
oh yeah, because you could have lost your mind, you could have lost your life, and you wouldn't be able to be a witness like with your life and the testimony or whatever. And so we serve a God of protection and a God of healing and deliverance, and and I just praise God for that. So let's press on a little bit more. So you survived that, and yes, praise God. And where to next?
Well, of course, we're just kind of jumping around, but I became a missionary. I went to Bolivia.
Wow.
2 different times, and let me tell you, when you really, because I was a seriously volunteer missionary, and the only money I got was when the Lord would impress upon someone to donate.
Yeah.
So went there, and when I tell you, I literally witnessed miracles. Okay, I studied natural health at Ministry with Dr. Thomas Jackson. Yeah. I was the first class of the 4-month school. So I went to Bolivia, and one of the ladies, she was just, from Venezuela, Venezuela, or anyway, one of those. And all of a sudden, we were at her house. She collapsed, and I'm like, and the Lord, I can't believe it. The Lord kept me calm. She could not move. She collapsed, and let me tell you something. What you put in, God will bring it out when you need it. The Lord started talking to me about what to do. First, he kept me calm because I'm sitting there like, that's never happened to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so he literally tells me what to do, and it was like, okay, go lay her down. He said, lay her on her stomach. Lay her. Now, mind you, she has collapsed. Lay her on her stomach.
Wow.
So I laid her on her stomach on a table. He said, go get some hot compresses, put it down her spine. He said, put the towel on over her so you won't burn her. Go get some towels, put the towels in the sink as hot as you can stand it, except for both ends, because on both ends you can hold it and you can wring it out without getting burnt. Okay, so you got one towel on her, that's dry. Put the hot, wet towel over the dry towel. Then get a wool blanket, put that over her. And when that wet towel cools off, do it again. She revived, she got up, and never knew what happened.
Wow.
Never, to this day.
And it's amazing that you mentioned that, because we're going to do a little sidebar here. It's amazing because in this pandemic, much is being scoffed at in terms of natural remedies, which and what's your take on that?
Do you see how the Lord is preparing us when He calls us out? Okay. First of all, He clears our mind with the health message.
Yes.
Okay, now I ain't saying we ain't battling, okay?
Right.
It's hard.
That's a sad bar, yes.
But He trains us because it's times like this. First of all, there's not going to be enough doctors. There's not going to be enough medication. It's not going to be enough of anything. But when you have the knowledge and know that the major thing, especially with this as a prime example, and preparing us, if you know about strengthening the immune system, if you don't have a dime and you have food, you can strengthen your immune system and simplify your eating, and the Lord will protect us.
Yes.
And let me tell you, the last work that there will be, the 2 last work, is that of literature evangelism and medical missionary work.
That's right.
Those 2. All these other things, I don't care what you do, how many suits you wear, none of that, how much money. Look at where we are now. Girl, don't start me. I'm like, and
and you know what? Let me piggyback on that. I was at the School of the Loud Cry. Wonderful shout out to Apocalypse Ministries, and you were on the media team there. And did you notice? I mean, she's a witness from the beginning of the week to the end, and went from epidemic to pandemic.
Girl, just like
in the twinkling of an eye.
It was like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
It was like it was literally every day it was something new, and it was happening rapid fast. And for us, it's an eye opener. And you think about it, it's like, the Lord is doing something, because there are so many of us that the Lord called in the same window of time, around 2000, 2001, 2002, 3, and on to now. And I'm thinking, it's like, wow, the Lord knows how hard, let me speak for myself, my head is, and how much time I'm gonna need to do right, give right, surrender, and give it to Him. And God is such a merciful, long-suffering God to us.
Yes.
So He gives us these experiences. I mean, you're like, Lord, don't dare say, how much more can I take? Don't ever say that.
No.
Yeah, right. Because He's like, well, I'm going to show you.
No. And I'm gonna tell you something else I learned. This is just me. I learned a long time ago. Be careful. Know what you're doing if you pray for patience.
Oh.
I don't pray for that anymore.
That, and don't ask to be humbled. Humble yourself, right?
He'll do it in a heartbeat. And because when you pray for patience, he'll put it on you, and it'll train you. So I'm just like, Lord, have mercy on me.
Amen.
Have mercy on me. Because we're gonna have trials, and I'm like, but if I ask for the patience and stuff, that's gonna add more to it. And I'm doing. I have my plate is full.
Right.
Yeah. So, but yeah. Thank you for your thoughts on that, and everybody. And another sidebar. Everybody thought Pastor Jeremiah Davis was out of his mind when he said 2020 was no ordinary year. He said 2020, and he said this in Atlanta. I heard him preach in Atlanta that 2020 was the beginning of the end.
And that was in 2019 when he said that?
Yeah, it was in 2009. In fact, it was in July. It was the week of July 4th. It was at Mount Pisgah. And I heard him, he gave that sermon, 2020 is no ordinary year. And we see it. So you can scoff at the natural remedies. You can scoff at the message about the Lord's soon return. But everything is coming full circle here in 2020. So, it would behoove us to get our house in order, get our spiritual houses in order. All right. So, back to your testimony. So, when did it come to a point where you just felt like, now I've been delivered? Where are you now?
On my hands and knees, and trust Lord Jesus.
Yes.
The more you look to Jesus, the less in ourselves we see to think anything of, other than the fact that we're a child of God. It's a struggle. But just like I said when we started, it was like, Lord, we don't realize how prideful we are,
Mercy.
How full of ourselves we are,
Yes.
even because I know I'm sensitive. And the Lord was telling me, it's like, that right there is pride. Yeah. And you never think
it like that.
Think about it. You concerned and you hurt easily, that you wearing your feelings on your shoulders. It's pride. It's like in the reverse. And all of that, we say, we do this, but we murmur, we complain, we backbite, we mean as rattlesnakes, we're temperamental.
Mercy.
Those things won't make it to heaven.
Right.
And the Lord has given us practical situations like the garden. Let me tell you.
Yes.
I promise you, I'd never planted anything but my feet in the ground. And when this stuff started coming up, I'm like, I'm about to throw something in there, some kind of seed in the ground to see something happen. But in that, the Lord is talking to me and teaching me so many things. It was like, okay, like where I am here. This is clay area. It's clay and it's rocks and stones. And literally, you put a shovel in the ground and jump on it. Jump, it's going to be right there.
You know what? And you know what? Let's go back. We did a live, I don't know who all saw the preview, and the signal kept interrupting when we were talking about some of the things that you planted. And I want us to go back out. We're going to take a break. We're going to go out there. And I want people to see, because it's going to get to a point. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll talk about that when we get to the garden. Let's go to the garden.
But what I wanted to finish saying, though, is the fact that when you have these examples, the Lord was telling me, it's like, your heart is like this soil. The clay balls up and can't get water through.
Mercy.
The water of life. These rocks, my head, no. And the Lord is like, but patience. It's like you work it, you work it, you work it. You can't do it all at one time.
Right.
And it's the same as us ministering to other people. You can't give them all at one time. You just have to be long-suffering and loving and gentle, day by day by day. Dig a little deeper, move the rocks, add supplements and soil if whatever the soil is missing. And I'm just learning about gardening, okay? So, but I'm just looking at the practical of the heart. And the Lord is like, that's how your heart is right now.
Mercy.
But if you give it the right things, just like the actual soil, then it will be pliable. You can dig in it. It'll be soft, and you can put a seed in it. Seed fall to the ground and die, and I will give it life. I'm the one that gives it the sun. I'm the one that gives it the water. You do your part, which is tended to the soil.
And I'm so glad you said that. And again, before we go out, because I really want to get that. I want y'all to see this, the garden, what she's doing.
Look, trust me now. This is my first time, okay?
but you're in the saddle. You're in the saddle, okay?
I'm hanging like this.
I know, right? And I'm so glad you gave that analogy, because one of the things about personal ministries, or anytime you're trying to do some type of evangelism, it can get kind of frustrating because it's like, don't you see? I'm trying to tell you, and all that. No, we are supposed to just sow the seed. And God will do the rest.
And you know what? The loving things that we do, like going, hugging them, or babysitting their child, or taking them food. Those are the different things of softening the soil.
Right.
Softening the. You don't just throw the seed down in there and they sit there and look at it. You gotta soften that soil. So all of these things that the Lord is calling us to do for one another, that love and that caring and that sharing. That's that. Cultivating the soil,
right?
And then we can plant that seed.
Yes. And but you know what? These kinds of things, we live in a microwave society, and that's why that's the thing. We live in a microwave society, and the last thing we want to do is what you mean plant? What you mean harvest? And me, before this pandemic, I loved restaurants. I loved going, I don't feel like cooking. I just go get, but see, that pandemic is doing some character. It's character
cereal, right?
And so that's the thing, there's a positive way to look at this, this pandemic, because it's forcing us to reevaluate some things. I haven't been to a restaurant, not even for takeout, since this thing jumped off. And because, just my little concerns, my little issues and stuff. But you couldn't have told me in January that I would have that mindset. I mean,
you couldn't have told me in January I was putting something in the ground. Okay.
Wow.
What, and cutting grass?
Wow.
Never ever in my life have I cut grass. 3 weeks ago? I cut grass.
You did.
Cut grass. I was out there actually because this quarantine thing got you growing a little bit. In fact, clothes getting smaller. No. So I was gonna get like this old fashioned push thing, and I got it. I found it on Marketplace. Got it. So I'm out doing like I want you to know, a couple of days after that, one of my neighbors. I keep my door. I like to have the door open when it's nice weather. So I hear, ma'am. So I get up. Girl, the man had a lawnmower sitting, not on his truck. He had taken off the truck and had it on my walkway.
Wow.
I'm like, no, sir. I was like, I'm sitting here and I feel like I'm getting fat. I need to exercise. Well, ma'am, you know what? This is a push lawnmower. You're going to get some exercise.
Yeah.
The man made me take it.
Wow.
That lawnmower,
you see how God will give you what you need when you need it before you know you need it?
Or even wanted it.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm like, okay.
All right, look, okay, we're going to pause let's go out to the garden, okay?
Okay.
We're gonna pause. All right.
Don't judge me on my garden now. You know, I'm just starting.
Listen, what she has out there is 100-fold than what I have because I don't have any. So there ain't no judgment, okay?
And if something happens, maybe the Lord will bless and I have enough for her or anybody else. So
Yeah,
that's
all
what
right, because she's growing collard greens, y'all.
What?
So, okay. All right, hold on one second, y'all. We're going to go outside. Okay. Okay, we are back as promised. We are at Melissa's garden, and I'm just so proud of you.
Small, y'all. Look.
But look, but it's, you know what? I used to do videos called Take the First Step, and you've taken several steps. Okay, so you were showing me on the live video that we did. These are your.
Okay, wait, come back to the babies.
Come back to the babies.
Okay, so yeah, those are collards. They're babies.
Look
Okay.
at them, y'all.
Okay, and that's intensity gardening.
Uh-huh.
So they're close together, so nobody tell me about popping. That's on purpose.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and those are, of course, collards. And then further down, turnips. Now I know those have gone to seed. See, girl, I've
Okay,
been
yeah, let's go
YouTubing.
to the let's go to the turnips. I love turnips.
Well, you much to look at.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
so and and look beyond there. That's what is that? Broccoli.
Okay, where is that?
Right there. Are you looking at that little plant right there?
Okay.
Yeah, those are broccoli. Okay, so come this way. Come in here. Okay, so that's cabbage. Okay, that's Brussels sprouts, the second one.
Okay.
Right there is cauliflower. That row. Okay, come this way.
Uh-huh.
Now you can't see them good, but they're down there. That's cucumber.
Wow.
Okay, come this way.
Okay.
That's okra beside it. Y'all
Look
see
at that.
See the babies?
Yeah, I see your babies.
Okay, now that row, everything died in that row, but they're gonna be resurrected because
Yeah.
I replanted. Okay, and that's corn.
Okay.
Okay, come this way. Watch your
Okay.
step. Watch your
All
step.
right.
Okay. And then through here.
Uh-huh.
Now y'all see what I mean about the clay and the rocks? Look at
Yes,
that. Let me
yes.
tell you, it's nothing but God's. But if we do our part and be obedient, He will bless us.
That's right,
He will
that's
bless
right.
us. Okay, take it away from the weeds.
Oh, well.
Okay. So this, potatoes are in here. Okay, and then
Ooh.
onions. But come here, let me show you this. Let me show you
Okay.
this.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Look at that. Look at the babies. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at the woonies.
Look at you.
Look at there.
Girl, you doing your thing.
But it's more about the lessons and that the Lord is trying to teach me, especially about myself and about my clay and rock heart that He's trying to cultivate.
It's an
and
object
soil.
lesson, y'all.
Yes.
And this is what she was saying. Look at this. Who would have thought that all of these things would grow out of this ground?
Out of this ground.
And this is another thing. With God, all things are possible.
Have mercy.
With man, it's like girl,
Impossible.
Yeah, girl, what you doing? But with God, and let's get a shot of them collards because we're gonna have to talk when you and I gonna have to talk. But with God, all things are possible. It doesn't matter about the ground. God can take the impossible and do the possible. We just have to do our part.
Amen.
So you did that, sis. You did it. Oh my, it's about to rain. And look at these clouds. What is it? Look at that. Look at these clouds out here.
Storm is coming relentless
In its fury, yeah. But do you have any closing remarks? Let me get you on stage here. Get you back in the saddle. Do you have any closing remarks?
Just remember that God is grooming us. He's perfecting us, and all of our struggles are trials. And don't hold back to share as the Lord impresses you to share with whatever it is that you're doing or you're holding on to, you're trying to let go of, because your struggle. These are bugs, y'all. But your struggle is God's victory, and He's allowing it for you to go through you because He knows that you will give Him all of the honor and the glory.
Yes.
And whenever you're weak, you look to each other, look to someone else, okay, for strength. God will give you that strength, but He put us here for each other to strengthen one another, okay?
Yes.
I love you.
All right. Thank you, sis. Blessings.